Hi, and welcome to Tim and Joel's The Weekly Draw, a new collaboration between Tim and Joel, that's us, and PW Unlimited. How you doing, Joel?
I am doing wonderfully. It's an early morning and we are up with the sun, ready to rock and roll, talking a bit about wrestling, and then probably go back to sleep. How are you feeling, Tim?
Ready to go back to sleep, but somewhat excited to talk about wrestling, especially what's
Sounds
coming up
about
this
right.
week.
Well, it sounds about right. So, who are we? Well, I'm Joel, and that's Tim,
Hi.
and we host Tim and Joel Call It the Ring. We're a weekly look at the news and all the best parts of wrestling, and you can find us weekly on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. This show, however, is all about the week ahead. We're going to talk about the matches, we're going to talk about the stories, we're going to talk about the intrigue and the analysis, and we're going to do it all in 15 minutes. So Tim, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Let's.
So first of all, congratulations are in order because Kylie Ray just got engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Isaiah Velasquez. It's a pretty good day. So you know what? Congratulations, Kylie. Pretty excited for you. Now let's talk about Raw, shall we?
Yeah.
Now, tell me if you've heard this one before, but we're going to have Keith Lee versus Drew McIntyre.
Okay. I think
And-
I might have seen that a few times.
Yeah, and if Keith Lee beats Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton is unable to compete, Lee gets into the ambulance match at Clash of Champions. So not only does Lee have to beat Drew McIntyre, but Randy Orton also has to say that he cannot compete in the match. I would love to know who thought of this and what is keeping Randy from maybe not being involved in his own match at Clash of Champions. Last week he was off for personal reasons. Could be an injury, could be more health related. Tim, what do you think?
A little bit clunky. It's an odd stipulation, but we'll see. Didn't really get a finish last week, so makes sense. I see what they're doing. Was wondering if Randy has COVID, but
Do we think that this could become part of a three-way ambulance match because WWE loves touting first time ever?
Is that all that exciting?
It is for them.
Still an ambulance match, just another dude in it, but whatever way.
How does one put three people in an ambulance match? Do you have to put two people in the ambulance? Does only one person have to go in? The other one, I guess, is incapacitated. How does it work in a three-person ambulance match?
Most triple threat style matches, you only have to shove in one, but it would be a fun stipulation if you had to shove two guys in an ambulance. That seems very, very difficult. Could go all night.
Well, you know what? In the Thunderdome, there are no rules. Speaking of no rules, we have the Raw Underground, and we're going to see Dabba-Kato, who is undefeated in the Underground, taking on Braun Strowman. Dabba-Kato, who is the former Babatunde from Evolve and the Greatest Royal Rumble, if you've seen him, he will probably grab Braun by the testicles because that seems to be how he wins matches. Who do you got?
There's no rules. Might as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Braun's obviously going to just like win. They're not going to do that to him. I don't even know this guy, Dabba-Kato.
Dabba-Kato is extremely talented. He is extremely powerful, and if they're going to just feed him to Braun, I think it's a real lost cause. We've been seeing some dominance from Dabba-Kato. We've seen some screen time for him. But I will say this, the WWE Raw preview for this match includes the comments, could they destroy the Raw Underground? Is it a sign of things to come? Could this be the end of Raw Underground?
Maybe Dabba-Kato's the one who ate those dancing girls from the first episode.
Maybe Braun Strowman is the man behind Retribution.
Yeah, be it.
Moving on, it's the number one contendership match for the Raw Tag Team titles. The winners are going to face the Street Profits at Clash of Champions for those Raw Tag Team championships. We have Seth Rollins and Murphy, who I'm pretty sure just broke up. We have Andrade and Angel Garza, who I'm pretty sure just broke up. And we have Dominic Mysterio and Humberto Carrillo, who I'm pretty sure have never met each other in real life.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win this match? And why are the Street Profits going to come out victorious?
Because no one as a team in that match matters. I'm confused. I don't know who will win. No one feels like the right fit.
Well, Rollins and Murphy just had a beatdown breakup for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So what changes?
Like,
is this going to be the week that Murphy maybe loses it on Seth Rollins?
Yeah, I assume. Like, this week would be the time, and then I guess neither one of them have a championship, eh? So they might have to drag it out. This would be a good way to drag it out. Andrade Garza, same thing, though. I don't know. Maybe they decide, oh, Zelina was the problem. Let's hang out for another, like, few weeks together and then break up and feud.
maybe they introduced Demi Burnett as their new manager. Maybe Demi Burnett is the head of Retribution.
Yeah, again, the one who knows nothing of wrestling.
Exactly. Well, that's Raw so far for Monday night. It should be a very good show that we may have seen before. Let's talk about Tuesday night, because Tuesday night is going to be AEW's Late Night Dynamite in correspondence with the NBA playoffs. We're going to see Matt Sydal versus Sean Spears. We haven't seen Sydal back in an AEW ring since All Out when he made his debut. One thing that I found interesting about this match is that the reason they're possibly doing it is because the first person that Sydal laid a hand on in that Casino Battle Royale was Sean Spears.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to take away that match?
Matt Sydal, probably. Like, Spears has the chairman thing. He's had some attention paid to him, whereas Sydal's new in here, and they gotta give him something.
Sydal, meanwhile, is going to be in the ROH Pure tournament, and his first match is this week, taking on what's his name? Delirious.
Oh yes, okay, cool.
So Matt Sydal is going to take on Delirious in the ROH Pure Championship match this week. One thing that I really liked this week was during Being the Elite, they actually tied the segments together with Michael Nakazawa being the person who used a little baby oil on the turnbuckles and therefore caused Matt Sydal to have his little incident at All Out.
Yeah, it was
little things
great.
like that just make wrestling great. Isn't that right, Tim?
Yeah, he just ran out. He sprays baby oil all over it. Just shh. And then they run the clip. It's a good little rib. Loved it.
It's a nice way to actually bring some levity to something that, it looked bad, but in the end, Sydal was fine.
Yeah.
Next up on the card is Brandy Rhodes taking on Agent 99, Anna Jay from the Dark Order. It's a great task for a young Anna Jay who's taking on Brandy, who not always is the greatest wrestler. Tim, who you got?
Honestly, it's a bit of a tough call. Like, I wouldn't be surprised with either one going home with it, but it'd be nice to see Anna Jay take it, newest member or second newest member of Dark Order. So good to see.
Is it safe to assume that the Dark Order and maybe Dustin Rhodes get involved?
Dark Order for sure. Dustin's a toss-up, but yeah,
I'd love to see this be a dominant victory for Anna Jay.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Same.
And speaking of dominant, we have Scorpio Sky taking on Ben Carter. Now, Ben Carter, believe it or not, has actually been quite dominant lately. He's had great showings of Warrior Wrestling. He's been on AEW Dark and will actually be on AEW Dark the same night as Late Night Dynamite. He's going to be taking on Lee Johnson earlier in the night. Scorpio Sky has also been on a roll with AEW. Could it be another win for him? Or maybe it's time to capitalize on Carter, who's been on an upswing lately.
Yeah, either one would be good. Like, I'm just looking forward to the match because I think the two of them are going to put on a good show.
Ben Carter, by the way, trained by Seth Rollins and Mark Brave over at Black and Brave Wrestling Academy.
Indeed.
It's a pretty big deal when you got those guys. We're also going to have, excitingly enough, Chris Jericho on commentary. Think of it what you will, but whenever he's on, good things happen.
Yeah, he's always trying to scream without screaming and be a heel without being a heel on commentary. It's amusing. I enjoy it.
Yes, it is. Moving on to Wednesday night, we're going to have the Wednesday Night Wars once again because Dynamite is also going to be presented on Wednesday night. And we're going to have a big six-man tag between Jon Moxley, the AEW champion, Will Hobbs, Darby Allin, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. So, first of all, this has been simple and effective storytelling, and really each man in this whole thing have a feud with each other.
Yeah, it was really good. And like Mox is just like, hey, this guy, Willie Hobbs, and he comes out and he does some weird stuff with the chair and gets all excited, and Mox gets thrown through a cardboard box.
This is Will Hobbs' first big opportunity in AEW. I think it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he factors into the pinfall, whether or not he's the one being pinned or he's the one getting the pin.
They've been giving him a lot of attention since the Casino Battle Royal, so like it could happen. Like I think this is a good chance for him to shine.
Do you think Cage and Archer are going to coexist?
Good question. They kind of did the enemy of my enemy is my friend bit with the lead up to it. I think it'd be fine. It'd be weird to see them turn on each other and then feud, having a couple of their top heels right now go at each other rather than the faces. But
we're going to see come Wednesday night on Dynamite. We're also going to see a TNT title match between champion Brody Lee and Orange Cassidy. It's
That to
worth
me is
it.
a little bit out of nowhere, but it makes sense. Like,
I mean, you think about it, Orange Cassidy's been on a roll between
Yeah.
3 high-profile matches with Chris Jericho. He's been a pivotal part of what is arguably one of the best street fights in recent history in AEW, and then 2 hot angles in a row. Why not put him in the match?
yeah, the next in line to get squashed, but maybe he'll put up a fight.
And if you look on, again, being the elite, you do have not Brody Lee, but Orange Cassidy and members of the Dark Order interacting quite often.
Yeah.
So it does tie in together. But again, that's the one thing with AEW. You kind of have to watch the background product in order to sometimes understand what's going on their network shows.
Yeah, they really do tie in BTE like quite a bit to it, and I'm just starting to pick up on that.
Yep. I can expect Brody Lee to get the win. I mean, maybe do a non-finish, do it again, but otherwise, both men keep them strong.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. In tag team action, we have Hikaru Shida, who is the AEW Women's Champion, taking on. Oh, sorry, she's going to team with Thunder Rosa, who is the NWA Women's Champion, to take on Diamante and Ivelisse, who won the AEW Women's Tag Team Cup, which I guess is now in the form of medals.
I assume they melted down the cup and
That
turned
makes
them
enough
into
sense.
pucks.
I would do it too.
Yeah.
It's good to see Shida and Rosa having respect for each other. It's a good touch. But, we just saw Thunder Rosa and Ivelisse this past Wednesday in a match that raised a lot of eyebrows because of how both women wrestled the match and the subsequent reporting of how personal issues may have gotten in the way. So all eyes are going to be on this match, but maybe for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it felt weird. I'll say that much. So I'm curious to see. Like, I am very curious to see how this goes, because like part of it is just like, will this go well? Will this go very poorly? Curiosity. So
I would love to see Diamante get the win for her team, maybe get closer to an AEW women's title shot.
yeah, that'd be fun.
Love to see it. We're going to see it all on Wednesday night in AEW for Dynamite. Moving on to NXT, same night, Wednesday night, Jake Atlas and Tommaso Ciampa. That is going to be one hell of a match. And I want to get your thoughts first, Tim.
Yeah, they built it really, really well. Jake Atlas is adorable. Like I said, he's very funny. I like how they're building him. He's kind of like who is this schmuck type thing, which he kind of faced head on, and he's put on a couple of pretty decent matches. One was like, I think it was like an earlier match, but it's good. He's doing well. I'm curious to see what Ciampa. I'm sure Ciampa will destroy him again, but.
Yeah, Ciampa's been full of rage, but I'm quite a fan of him working with the younger, newer talent. But I'm really hoping that we're going to build a little bit more on Jake Atlas's character. He's got to be more than just really cute.
No, he's a guy he's got a jacket. He's a guy with a jacket.
Well, when he started, there was that one segment where he introduced himself, and he was there was a background. It was a big brick rainbow mural, and he was wearing these glasses, these like Warby Parker glasses, and so many people were like, "Oh, is this still a commercial?" And then they realized, no, it's Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas, Warby Parker sportsman.
Makes sense.
Well, so I want to see more from Atlas, but I also want to see a little bit more of why Ciampa had this sudden change of heart, why he's suddenly a heel. I assume it happened because of Cross going down with injury, but it'd be interesting to have a better idea of what made Ciampa feel this way.
In kayfabe, I don't think he's ever like addressed where this anger is coming from. He just started getting mad.
Just started beating the new guys. I get it. I'd do it too.
Yeah, me too.
Well, we got a number one contendership battle royal for the NXT Women's Championship. The winner's going to face Io Shirai TakeOver on October the 4th. Your participants are, take out your pad and pen, or just go to NXT's social media, Casey Catanzaro, Indy Hartwell, Aaliyah, Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Tegan Knox, Shotzi Blackheart, Raquel Gonzalez, Caden Carter, and Xia Li. Could there be more? Probably not, but these are the ones featured on the card. Interestingly, every single woman on that list are currently involved in some sort of story, except for Indy Hartwell. Tim, do you think there's a chance that Indy Hartwell could run away with this?
Yeah, maybe. Like the last match I saw her wrestle, like I think it was Tegan Knox versus her, and Knox went over pretty quick. Like I'd be curious. What I do think is like, since all of these women are already involved in stories, the fact that they're doing this number one contendership thing is a bit odd. So it would be a good idea to have her win, just because like they clearly have no issue telling stories to get there. It's just this one, I guess they couldn't put something together that made sense for the title. So
Yeah.
maybe here's where they started.
Meanwhile, you have Casey and Caden as a tag team. You have Xia Li, who just faced Casey and Caden in a tag team match. Xia Li was with Jessie Kamea, and then Lee took the pin. She wasn't happy, didn't shake her partner's hand, and just walked off feeling frustrated. Maybe it's a heel turn incoming. You have Aaliyah in the Robert Stone story along with Shotzi. Io was involved, so maybe Aaliyah could get the match and then get squashed by Io. It's a very untakeover move because normally these matches are longer in the tooth, right? You have Candice and Tegan Knox. They're in a feud right now. You have Rhea and Raquel technically in a light feud because Raquel did get involved in the whole Mercedes Martinez and Rhea feud. They had the tag match. Raquel pinned Rhea. And finally, there's just a lot of battle royals to determine the number one contenderships.
Yeah, like it's kind of their back pocket go-to. It's starting to look like the last one for this was pretty recent, wasn't it?
It was back in January 2020, back when Rhea Ripley was still the champion. So you know what? There's been enough time, but at the same time, it shouldn't happen more than once in a year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you could have gone with maybe a fatal 4-way or even a fatal 5-way. Well, on the other hand, fatal 5-ways, we have a number one contendership match in a gauntlet eliminator for the NXT Men's Championship, currently held by Finn Balor. So the winner of this match is going to face Balor at TakeOver as well. We have officially confirmed, as of Sunday morning, we have Kushida, we have Cameron Grimes, whom I affectionately refer to as the Hat, for those of you who are watching us for the first time, and Kyle O'Reilly, who is now, I guess, a good guy because he's talking about how this is his moment, his opportunity, given that real passionate babyface match. What do you think? Who's going to walk out of this thing? One of these three? Someone else?
Someone else, probably.
Well, we still have 2 more spots to be determined. There was an announcement video with William Regal, and the people who were in that video were Ridge Holland, Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong, Santos Escobar, who was the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, and the Velveteen Dream. I expect Velveteen Dream to get in there, especially with Kushida being in the match. Maybe the two cancel each other out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that. Bronson Reed. Why not?
I'd like to see it.
Him. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. The one thing, I mean, listen, I'm going to say it. I would love to see the Hat. I want to see Cameron Grimes get that match. Let Finn be the good guy for this thing and let Cameron Grimes and Finn have a banger of a match. It's not going to be a super amazing takeover. It's not going to be super well built. You've only got a few weeks to go. And I just don't want to see Velveteen Dream in this thing. I don't think many people do, especially with what's going on.
Nope.
That's it. And that's NXT for next week. That's what we have down the line. We're going to see what happens. And finally, what's going to happen next week on SmackDown? It was literally 2 days ago.
So many questions.
So many.
Fridays brought up a lot. Felt good. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next week. They're building Reigns and Jay really well, I think. So
you think Roman's going to snap on Jay next week?
I don't know. Part of me thinks that it's going to happen in the title match. You'll continue to see the tension rise, but
what if Jay gets to Roman before Roman gets to Jay next week?
Ooh. Could be.
Well, we're going to have to find out. We're also going to have to find out whether or not Alexa Bliss is going to keep going into a trance whenever someone mentions The Fiend. How long is that going to play out?
A little while longer, I think. They're gonna make it a slow burn, and I agree with that. I honestly expected things to happen a lot quicker, and I'm pleasantly surprised they haven't.
Speaking of slow burns, we did not have Bray Wyatt this week. He's not at the Clash of Champions. Maybe there's no need for a new Firefly Funhouse until after the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're just kind of giving it a cool-off period before they come back and do something different.
Yeah, it works for me.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, and Sami Zayn are going to have a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at Clash of Champions. That's going to be one heck of a match between guys who know how to do it.
Easily the thing I'm most excited for on the 27th.
Yeah, and we're going to find out next week who the mystery girl is. Those vignettes have been running for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Who do you think the mystery girl is?
Carmella.
I'm glad we got there.
No, it's Carmella.
Yeah. Common consensus is it's Carmella. I wanted it to be Chelsea Green, but you know what? Can't always get what we want, and Carmella is always a draw. So I'm looking forward to seeing Carmella next week as the mystery girl. And speaking of mysteries, we're going to talk about the lawsuit. Otis was served by The Miz for claiming an unsafe work environment. He works in a ring, by the way, and a breach of Money in the Bank.
I expect Otis to represent himself. That's something I want to see.
The way that I put it was the only court that this should be resolved in is a food court.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of food courts, Big E assaulted a security guard. Will he be served too?
Yeah, I mean,
going?
if anyone has some legitimate grievances, I think it's that poor security guard who went through that windshield.
That's right. Larry, the security guard, he deserves some money, maybe some time off.
Restitution.
I know that, some restitution. I wanted to say retribution.
Oh.
Maybe Larry, the security guard, is the head of retribution.
Can't be. SmackDown.
Oh, damn it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they've crossed over.
Yeah, they do change their mind. We'll see. I doubt it.
We'll see. Well, that's it for us.
Maybe that's what they got for the trade with Mandy. Retribution for Mandy Rose.
Just the leader, though. Just Larry the leader.
Just Larry the leader.
Well, I look forward to Larry the leader of Retribution showing up on SmackDown this week. You know what? That's it for us. Next week, we're going to be talking about Clash of Champions. We're going to give you our predictions. We're going to go down the match card. And we're going to keep doing this every week because it's awesome to have a new platform to tell our story and have some fun. Tim, where can the kids find you?
Kids can find me at TimStoneP, so TimStoneP at Twitter, Timstone Piledriver at Instagram. They can find us at Tim and Joel Pod, pretty much everywhere where you can find people.
And you can find me at Joel Pearl. My name is everywhere. And finally, you can find us every week here at PW Unlimited and every week on YouTube, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Guys, girls, everyone in between, have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.